Hi. Wave by Genki is a wearable wireless controller that lets you interact with music using gestures. The idea is to more naturally engage with whatever instrument you're playing or sound you're making. I met the Genki team at NAMM and they sent me over this prototype, which just launched an Indiegogo campaign to fund the full product and will look like this. Wave can detect movement in 3 dimensions: roll, which in this case controls the filter on the sound; pan, which here I mapped to the amount of reverb; and tilt, which in this case I mapped to sustain, which here is intentionally barely noticeable because I also wanted to solo on the tilt axis. Let me turn that on. Just to be clear, Wave is a controller. It doesn't make any sounds on its own. Rather, it sends MIDI CC for each axis of motion. Here I'm using the amazing Jasmy 2 plugin, link below, to convert CC messages, MIDI CC, to notes. Now don't worry, I'll explain what's going on behind the scenes in a bit. I just wanted to show you 2 more types of control that Wave has. The first is onboard buttons. These are assignable to one of a few things based on the preset you're on. For example, in this preset, this button is what I call scratch your nose mode. It disables the sensor so that you can move your hand around without affecting the sound. And this button recalibrates the sensors if they lose track of where you are, and a long press helps you with MIDI learning the various gestures. In other presets, you can map the buttons to MIDI notes, and then they're just like any other remote controller for your DAW or any other device. There's another button down here which lets you change presets. And this brings us to the 5th or last type of motion that the Wave detects. Here I use the buttons to change drum sounds and my fingers to tap stuff. This mode is also velocity sensitive, so you can tap anything and the velocity or volume of the sound will depend on how hard you tap. Now, I don't know how useful this is. I think if you're going to be finger drumming, you may as well use a drum pad or something. But it's nice fun, and I'm sure people will come up with creative uses for this. There's also vibration or haptic feedback when you tap. You can't see it obviously on video, but since you anyway get feedback with the sound you create, I'd rather be able to turn that off and just get more battery life. Okay, up until now I've been using a computer. Let's see how well this works with an iPad. As long as an app has MIDI learn functionality, teaching it to react to Wave is pretty simple. You just turn on MIDI learn, select the axis you want to control and the target for that control, and then move on to the next one. Here I'm going to control drum track levels for specific instruments with the 3 axis of control. And that's pretty much it. Turning my hand like this controls this noise, and you can see the response is pretty immediate. I've got the up and down motion controlling my kick, and left to right motion is controlling the level of the closed hi-hat. And now I'm free to go about my business and do something else, potentially, while my drum levels are controlled with my hand. A bit of the tech specs. Wave works on Bluetooth, so you don't need a dongle or anything else to connect it to a Mac or an iOS device. You might need a Bluetooth LE adapter for your PC. I haven't tried it with Windows, but it should work. Wave is powered by a rechargeable battery. In my tests, it lasted just a bit under 3 hours, and the final product will have a battery that's about 50% larger, so expect something like 4 hours of use. One of the interesting things they've done at Genki is offer a Eurorack module as a potential add-on, which has improved latency and means you don't have to go through a computer to use Wave with modular gear. I haven't seen or tested that. If I get it, I'll show you how it works. a few caveats. I'm not affiliated with Genki in any way. They just sent me this unit. I wouldn't have made this video if it didn't work. So it works pretty well. As you can see it here, there are some bugs here and there, but it is an Indiegogo campaign, and these things do have some risk associated with them. Finally, as you can see here, you can't really move on one axis without affecting the others a little bit, so take that into consideration. It's not that you're going to be able to control three things independently, but rather they're going to move together as a whole. So in summary, the idea here, I think, is to avoid a keyboard, mouse, or even a knob or a fader, which aren't very expressive or exciting visually or emotionally, especially if you're performing in front of people. There's only so much feeling you can convey turning a knob or pushing a virtual fader. Having this on your finger feels a bit dorky, but I got over it very quickly when I experienced creating sounds by waving my hands in the air. So, bottom line, Wave is a ton of fun. It's definitely something I'd recommend if you play live and want to introduce more expression and modulation into your music. I will link to their Indiegogo campaign in the description below, and wish them best of luck in bringing Wave to life. As usual, if you like this video, hit like. If you have any questions, ask them in the comment section below, and hit the subscribe button if you want to see more stuff like this. Thanks for watching.